Hello. Welcome to Comm-UNITY, a podcast of and by CivSource Africa. At CivSource Africa, we are passionate about telling stories of African giving, generosity, and philanthropy. In season 12 of Comm-UNITY, we're telling stories of generous movers. By this, we mean people that are using their gift of mobility for good causes. So whether it's walking, running, hiking, swimming, golfing, whatever it is, as long as you're moving your body for a good cause, those are the stories we're telling this season. And today, I have a guest. His name is Kamara, and he's going to tell us a bit more about himself. Kamara, you are absolutely welcome. We are glad to have you.
Thank you.
Tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Kamara?
Oh, hi everyone, listeners. It's great to be here. Ariho Kamara is my name. Everyone calls me Kamara because, it rolls off it's the African child, right?
Yeah, and what does Kamara mean?
Well, Kamara is a prophetic name given to me because I come after the person who comes after twins.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so if I was a female, I would have been called Nina Kamara. Yes.
So you are a sibling of twins?
Yes, we have a Nyangoma, and sadly the Nyakato passed away, but Nyangoma still lives, and she's also a mother of twins.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So it jumped to you.
Exactly, and then the one who follows is called Nina Chiza, because, and then after that it's Nina Kamara or Kamara, so that's the twins are over. So it means to finish.
Wow.
If I was born somewhere else, maybe I'd be called Omega.
Alpha and Omega, nice.
Oh, yes.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh, yes. I am a husband to one wife, Vasta Kamara. Greetings to you when you listen to this. And I'm a father to 3 biological kids, and I have very many spiritual children because I have accepted the assignment of being a pastor in church. So I pastor a location of one of the Worship Harvest movement churches. And so I am a lay pastor, which means that during the week I make tents like Paul. I am privileged to be the team lead, CEO and founder at Nomad Advertising, which is a continental advertising firm. And by God's grace, we have presence in Rwanda, in Uganda, and now in Ghana.
Wow.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And when you're not husbanding and pastoring and working and fathering, what do you like to do for fun?
Well, I should say for some reason, I got myself into this whole passion that is designed. So I find myself doing a lot of work. So I don't know what my out is, but I have picked up, listening lots. So I can get lost away with podcasts. I love to read. I love to sketch. Sometimes I doodle a lot, and I find that is another out that I have. I love physical sports, but as I've gotten older, I haven't been doing a lot of that. But it's something that I'm extremely interested in doing. So whenever I find time, I walk around, I jog around, I play some sports here and there, though it's been, far and in between things, yes. But I also love to travel. I love to meet and connect with people. I can talk all day.
True story, by the way. For those who don't know Kamara, true story.
Yes.
He's gifted with the garb.
Yes. So I just love to connect with people. I feel like when someone denies you conversation, they're denying you connection. Yes. So I connect with people by speech,
by conversating.
Yes. There's no topic that is off the table for me, but I can talk about literally anything and everything. And so that's me.
Wow.
That's me.
Wow. So we're glad to have you here as a podcast guest.
Yep.
And we're telling stories of giving and generosity and philanthropy. And I know you to be a giver, but I want you to take us way back in history. What is your first memory of generosity, either experiencing generosity to you or you participating in generosity?
Well, I think the first you experience, before you actually feel like you are a generous person, you first experience it. You first see someone who does something for you that you'd not do for them. I've written this in a book that I have. I mean, the very, very recent one that I can think about is, so in one of my books, oh, by the way, I'm also an author.
Yes,
and I did Fluke, so I have 2 books and one
I
on the
know.
way. I wrote this in one of my books. So I was scheduled to travel to London, and my accommodation at the time got cancelled just the night before I was supposed to travel, because I was supposed to live with someone. I was going for a longer time because I was going back as a student, not just as a visitor. So I had secured, the place that I'd go to when I land and find my footing. And then the night before, I get this call that, I don't have that available. And I had a number of a young lady that I had been to school with who had moved to London, and I had her number. We were not like really, really friends. We were acquaintances, I should say. And just because we were in the same school, I wouldn't say I would put her in my top 10 of friends. So I call her up and I say, oh, this is the dilemma I have. I'm due to travel tomorrow and I have no accommodation. I need someone to fix me up. And she says, oh, it's okay. When you come, I'll definitely help you. So I'll wait for you. And at the time, I think I was on one of the last flights to London, BA flights, because we landed at Gatwick, and Gatwick is quite a ride from London. So, but she took time out of her work schedule. She came and picked me up at Gatwick. That's when I knew it was quite a ride away from London, because we spent almost an hour changing trains and stuff like that. And we reached her place, and I thought she had a spare room. She was living with a boyfriend at the time, and I tell people she did for me something that I would not do for her, or have never done for anyone. Even thinking about it, like every time I think about it, when I have some mobile money, I send her money and say, what you did for me, I would not do for anyone. So so we slept in her bed with her and her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine you bringing a friend over, an acquaintance, I would say. So I was in that situation for a night or two, and then I had to find quickly my way out. But this is someone who was so generous that they didn't let me struggle. They were living in a bedsit. But the generosity that they had, and I don't know if it's under generosity or it's just under kindness. I think it was extreme. This is someone of the opposite gender. A young man, I think I was 20 or 21 at the time, maybe 22 at the time. How boys are. But I thought that was really generous.
And sometimes generosity is about taking a leap of faith.
True.
Because we truly don't know.
True.
We don't know the people we give to. We don't know what might happen.
Exactly. And this is the strangest thing, because at 5 a.m., because I came in, I had a bit of jet lag. I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was sleeping on, this lady was sleeping in between me and her boyfriend in the same bed. And at 5 a.m. in the morning, the alarm went off and the boyfriend left me with his girlfriend in their bed.
Yes.
And I think, well, they're married. They're back in Uganda. We've met a couple of times, and I think for me that was an act of generosity that,
it's been imprinted.
It's been imprinted in my mind. Someone did for me something that I would struggle to do for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And maybe the level of confidence they had in me, the level of trust they had for me. I don't know. I think sometimes people do things for you that get you to up your game if you are not really up there. Hold yourself in the esteem that they actually hold you in. For me that was a generosity moment but also growing up, seeing relatives come home. At one point, no one owned a bed, It was much later that my dad really just, said, my kids, no one should take you out of bed unless you're really willing to give it up. And began to set a few boundaries, because now we're growing a bit older and we needed a bit of space. And I saw the impact of that. But ordinarily, we we've like I was telling you earlier, in Africa we run shelters without knowing it.
Yes.
Everyone's home is a shelter for a family member that might be stranded. So generosity has been all around us. We don't even have a word for it.
Yeah.
It's giving. There's nothing like giving above and beyond because we naturally give. I don't know.
Actually, I think now that you talk about language and what we call it, and you and I come from the same language group, I think when we say rukundo,
yes,
which is love,
yes,
right?
Yes,
is that's what generosity is,
yes.
and philanthropy, the Greek word, is love of humanity.
Correct.
And love is expressed in a myriad ways. So we are taught, we were brought up to have rukundo.
Yes. There's this Rushiga proverb that ahatari rwango n'abantu 10 baresheka kahuka wakame. Literally meaning where there is no hate or where there is love, where there is generosity, even 10 people can cover themselves with the hide of a rabbit. So it means that you can find warmth in however small the spaces can be, as long as there's love. And that's the expression that we've had all around us.
I think another one, I don't know the Ruchiga version, you might know it when I say it, is that it's never the space that is small, it's the heart.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's what they say. Emitima niera funda. Something like that. So it's really the same. Say it differently.
Yeah. So recently I was strolling the streets of some streets, I think Instagram streets, and I saw you walk 20 kilometers. Number one, I didn't know that your legs can carry you that far, and for the elderly. Yeah. So given that we were doing this podcast season about generous movers, I quickly texted you and said, I need to have you on the podcast.
Right.
So that we can get the backstory.
Right.
So how did that happen? You walking and the elderly. Tell us how the two connect.
Well, I must say, a gentleman called Kenneth Mugai Wenchi, who him and I come from the same village, started this charity that has done amazing work in our village. And everyone knows that, people don't have a lot of regard for organizations that come in to help people, because most of them are just looking for a photo op.
Yeah.
But he's been the person that has been most consistent. Now he runs the organization called ROTOM, which is Reach One, Touch One Ministries. And what they do is that they care for the elderly. And they really, really want the elderly to have a dignified life, because they are at the end of their productive time. They have given all they can to society. And sometimes they are left ignored and unseen. Now, it's a very long story how that started with him looking after one elderly woman, but it's now gone to thousands that are under their care, and they have recently brought in the children under their care, because most of these grandmas and granddads are taking care of orphan children of their children who either passed away because of disease, or they have traveled to distant lands to try and, fend for their families, or
relationships that didn't work.
They just didn't work, and all they did is dump the children and leave them with their grandparents. So these are people who are still forced to work even in the years where they should be retiring and enjoying the fruit of their youth. But they find themselves in a situation where they need help. So Rotom comes in and provides that, and I think they do a commendable job. They have looked after people, taken care of their housing needs, so they build shelter for them, because most of them are not in that, don't have the resources or even the energy to fix some of their houses. So they've built for them, they've given them solar lighting, they have provided water for them or brought the sources closer to them. They give them medical attention, they clothe them, they provide community, because at that age, some of them just really need people to talk to. And they have begun to disciple them in the word, where they give them audio Bibles, they've given them radios, keep them abreast with what's happening in society. Some of them have learned to read. So they have really kick-started their lives again, even at that old age, by giving them hope and showing them that the world really still regards their contribution, and they are not, spent cartridges that are waiting for disposal. So this charity really came to mind when I went to the village and I saw the amazing work they were doing, the testimonies that were coming out of the judges, as they call them. And on my 43rd birthday, for very many reasons, which I won't get into this podcast, I did something special. So cut the story short, it was my 43rd, 42nd actually, sorry. I lost my older brother when he was 42, and I remember just before he got buried, I had a real visit from the devil himself, who told me he would kill me at 42 as well. So it was really a scary thought. My late brother used to have, he had a birthmark. He had like a red, something red on his chest. He was fairly light skinned, so he had this, it looked like a burn, but it was just a birthmark on his chest. And I occasionally got that. I never used to have it before he passed, but when he passed, I used to get that. I would wake up and I have that red thing on my chest. And, the devil just told me, you're not making it past 42. It's something that haunted me for some time. So at 42, I decided to do something philanthropic. It happened while we were in the lockdown. I'd walked around the community and seen all this pain that was happening, people unable to feed their families. So I put out a call for people who wanted to give me birthday cards and wishes to convert them into money. Also, it's a test of influence. Yeah. So anyway, I was able to raise slightly over 5 million shillings, which I gave to some charities. So one of the charities that I'm involved in is Rahab, which rehabilitates the ladies who are formerly of the night and are coming back into normal life. And then the other was Rotom. And the other was a missional community that my wife and I were leading at the time, connected to Worship Harvest. We were able to raise some food packs and give them out during the lockdown. So that was my way of saying, okay, I'm still alive and around, so I'm going to make a contribution. And my target was to try and feed close to 1,000 families. And I think I didn't hit the mark, but more than 350 families got something out of that. So that was my contribution, saying thanks for reaching 42 and I was healthy and I was alive and I was not dead. And so Rotom was one of them that I gave to. And when I see the amazing work that they do, I'm just privileged to be a part of that. I don't know. I feel like I've digressed from the question you asked.
No. So I said, you're telling us that Rotom story. Yes. And then, like I said, I saw you walking.
Yes.
So yes, you start by contributing money.
Exactly.
But
yes. Yeah.
Yes, now you're contributing your legs.
Yes. So they called me in, and I sit on one of the boards that is meant to fundraise and put together ideas for raising money to look after these people, the elderly. They have one of the best geriatric care hospitals you'll ever find. It's in Mukono. It feels like a hotel. When you bring the elderly, you don't have to sleep there. They have people who take care of them. These people actually genuinely love the people that they are looking after. So it's not what you see in your typical hospital where there has to be an attendant who is trying to provide care because those who are meant to give it are doing the bare minimums. So these guys go above and beyond. I think it's if there is something that I would vouch for anyone to put their money behind, it would be Rotom as one of those vehicles because their work is much needed. We have a very small minority because the moment you hit 40 in this country, you enter a very a single digit percentage, right? Almost. Yeah. So if you hit 70, 80, you're in the lower single digits. Yes. Yeah. And so these people really need to be taken care of because, they can't be wished away. We have very huge youth populations right now, but at one point we're going to have a very huge elderly population. Yes. And if we don't set in place mechanisms to take care of them, then no one will take care of us when we get there. Yeah. But the work was really to commemorate the 20 years of this awesome work that Rotom has been doing, and we had to walk 1 kilometer for each year. So we started at 6:30 in the morning, and before 10, just slightly before 10, we were in Mukono. So we walked from Bweyogere to Mukono.
And these are 20 kilometers.
These are 20 kilometers, right? Yes. So we stopped at the headquarters. We had the Archbishop come. There were some awards, there was some recognition, and there were really, really stories that I can't go into tell, but the stories of the grandparents, the stories of the grandchildren who've been helped by Rotom. One of the stories is a young girl who came in at the age of 5, and right now she's graduating. And she gave a testimony that, really, literally her testimony was cutting onions.
Yes.
And serving onions, and saying that this cause has transcended, the borders of Uganda. What began in Uganda has gone on to impact people in as far as Ethiopia, as far as Germany, and even in the US. There are partners who are there, but also Rotom has establishments there and is helping the elderly right in their backyard, where some of that funding comes from. So I think whereas many people go to the West for donor funding to try and do something here, I'm really, really excited and humbled to see an organization that is saying, we can help you from where you are, because you also have the elderly among you, and set up systems that can allow people to give into that kind of work. So it's actually extending the philanthropy, as opposed to pointing yourself to be the one who is the recipient of this, but exporting the system on how you can help people from where they are without money having to fly from those communities. So I find that really new. It's different kind of thinking. I really want to applaud Kenneth Mugayawenchi and his team. He's a very humble guy. Sometimes when I hear the stuff that he's doing, I ask myself, what are we doing with our lives?
I know, right? Yes.
Yeah. So
now we celebrate those heroes.
Yes, sure.
That live among us, those angels that live among us.
He is truly one of those. Yes, and he's the guy who is behind this. But he said something, because he lived in America for some time, where he'd gone to study, and when he came back, he told his dad, "I'm coming back. I want to take care of the elderly." And the dad told him, "If you're in this thing for the money, you had better go back to America." And I found that extremely, for his dad to tell him that. And then he said, "If this is what you want to do, then you had better be committed to it. And if you're in it to make money, then go back to America." And he stayed, and his dad was at the meeting, and it was really I know some, seeing what the sacrifices the wife has to make, because actually it's the wife who identified the very first judge that they took care of. But to see that he's also remained connected to most of the people he sold the vision 20 years ago, and it's just been snowballing from just the one person to now thousands. I think they have close to 5,000 elderly people that they directly take care of. And they have set up one of the best schools for the children, under the care of these people. I think it's, like we were talking earlier, I think he works, other people toil. He's got purpose. I can see, it's amazing work. So I was glad to be part of it, and to allow. I'd never done 20 kilometers in one stretch.
I was just going to ask you about that. So start us from your journey of the first step.
Oh, it was
Where
fun.
did it get really tight? And the last step.
Well, I think the last 5 kilometers, no, the last maybe 3 kilometers were the hardest, because I began to drop pace. I'd listened to all the podcasts. I'd listened to most of the music. I had, had conversations, through the panting with people, and for me it became missional, because I remember when we had a stop, because people were walking at different paces, so we often stopped and tried to wait for others to catch up, so we don't let many people lag so behind. So one of the stopovers in Seta, I decided to use it as a missionary stopover, where I went in and preached to one of the guys in a bar, and he got saved, and it was an interesting scenario, and took a picture with him. Sadly, he had no phone, because I wanted to do a bit of follow-up. But meeting very many people on the way. I happened to go to Namiliango College, so going through Seta was also nostalgic for me. I used to drive that distance, but this is me walking that distance now. And on the drive back, I didn't even imagine that I had done that that walk, because I was seeing all these hills and, thinking, how did I get up this one? Yeah, but it was, because it started very early in the morning, I think we were all fresh, and there wasn't much traffic being a Saturday. So we by the time the traffic was building up, we were maybe about, past the areas that would be a bit painful. And then getting to the place at the end, it was quite something, because my legs were complaining.
Yes.
Yeah, they were complaining, why did you do this to us? Yes. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was good, because I know there are some people who joined us along the way, because there's some people who couldn't do the whole 20K. So some people joined in Mukono, the strategic stopover points. So we would wait, and then we'd get some people join us, those who couldn't do the whole 9 yards. But I was excited to do the whole 9 yard. We were flagged off by a pastor of Watoto Church. So it was really good. We had, we had a man of about 68 years.
I was just going to ask, did some of the elderly join you?
Oh yes, we had one, but he didn't look like it, because he did the whole, and I think he got there before me.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And he's older than you.
And he's older than me. Embarrassing. Yes. But yes. So that was the walk. And then we had a bit of a function after, and then there was a torrential downpour, and the day ended with a bit of celebration. But it was good. Yeah.
So looking back on that day, given what you did, what are your thoughts? What are your reflections about generosity and why you keep doing it, whether it is with your legs, with your money, with your what makes you do it again and again?
Well, let's say I think for me, I see it as a way of paying it forward. Most of us have never seen the people who made it possible for us to be where we are. And sometimes we wait for that photo op for people who are doing it to see that we're doing it for them. And that's when it loses its the whole essence of generosity. Because I think generosity should be as, it's a matter of the heart. It's not what you see, it's not what you feel. I believe that generosity is faith driven, like you said. So generosity is an expression of one's faith. Do I believe that there is more? Or am I going to hoard onto what I have and try to fill my can, like get all you can all you get, and sit on the can. Do I believe that there is room for more, that I can actually let go of what I have? So in essence, it's a way of saying I expect and I believe that there is more that can come out of me. And that should also enable us to release what we have, because I heard one preacher say this, that God doesn't have a problem giving to us. The biggest challenge he might have is giving through us. Giving to us is not a problem, but giving through us, because he set up systems where he's giving to people through people. Now, are you part of the system or are you outside the system? So when you get into the system, then you find that you're constantly receiving, because you understand the assignment is to give. Yeah.
The assignment is to give.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful note to end on. And even as you were talking, I was thinking about, generosity is really flow.
Yeah.
It's abundance. That's
Correct.
The word that came to me.
Correct.
And so, are you part of the flow? Are you part of the system?
Yeah.
And if you're not, jump in,
Yeah.
or if you're not, remove yourself if you're a blockage.
Correct.
But yes, we celebrate the flow of abundance in our lives, and that it flows through us to others.
Yes.
Thank you for your generosity. Rotam, shout outs to you as you do the amazing work among our elderly and the children they take care of.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a guest on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And for dropping those gems. And our listeners, thank you so much for listening to us. Tune in again next Thursday where we bring you another amazing guest. Bye.